There's actually been a lot of talk on the internet lately about dopamine, and unfortunately, I'm sad to say that people are getting it wrong. Here's an example.
As soon as you're standing in front of your fridge and you have the choice to either pick a carrot or a piece of chocolate, your brain will tell you to pick the one which releases more dopamine, as it knows that it will make you feel more pleasure.
There. That's not actually how dopamine works. Let me explain further.
Dopamine has been taught to be the pleasure molecule. Here's what people are not talking about. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that forces people to live in the future. Hi, my name is Kayla Rochelle. Let's geek out about dopamine. Dopamine makes you desire what you don't have and drives you to seek new things. It rewards you when you obey it, and it makes you suffer when you don't. Because dopamine is so future-oriented, here's why it's so draining. We will never be satisfied. Again, dopamine is what pushes you for more. It's how we've been able to survive. Dopamine helps us improve the moment by looking at what could be added. Dopamine is an anticipatory chemical. We know that dopamine pushes you to go after your desires. It makes you want a bigger house, a nicer car, more clothes. It motivates us to work more and earn more money. Constantly wanting more only worsens our health, drains our bank accounts, and prevents true happiness. I mean, haven't you ever said to yourself, as long as I buy a bigger, nicer fill in the blank, my life would be better? Only it didn't. When you become the owner of said thing, your desire circuit promised you that you would be overcome with joy and that your life would never be the same. Only those feelings weren't as long-lasting, nor as intense as you would have hoped. As we anticipate something, our future-oriented dopamine system is activated and it creates excitement. Then the vicious cycle begins. The chase. Pursuit. It's the source of creativity, and further along in that spectrum, madness. And too much of it produces addiction and toxic behaviors. Neurotransmitters like serotonin, epinephrine, or oxytocin, those are the neurotransmitters that really help us enjoy the pleasures of the here and now. Not dopamine. Dopamine forces a person to live future tense.
Under the dopamine hypothesis clock, high levels of dopamine cause the internal clock to speed up, which in turn causes our behavior to underestimate or overproduce what is needed depending on the task.
Now, with Maslow's hierarchy of needs in mind, this theory teaches us that people will progress their search for higher needs when their previous need is sufficiently satisfied. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that's responsible for that pursuit.
This is why dopamine is draining. The relationship that dopamine would have with time is that it's always pushing us into the future to live for that pursuit and that chase. So long that we have dopamine coursing through our bodies, we will never be satisfied unless we learn the skills to manage that desire or that craving.
On a global level, dopamine has driven the society to consider inhabiting other planets because we're depleting natural resources. We are building nuclear weapons that can wipe us out. We're developing AI that has the potential to outsmart us.
Dopamine has the power to affect the fate of the human race. I want to be able to return back to the impact that dopamine has on us at an individual level.
Research studies through experimentation on rats reveal that dopamine is necessary for survival. Even the simple task of drinking water produces dopamine. So we get it.
It is a necessary molecule in our brain. This neurotransmitter is necessary for major functions like movement, motivation, and breastfeeding, to name a few. The part that most content creators are missing is when they give messages like dopamine detox. Is that a person never really learns how to tame dopamine's push for more. Instead of trying to constantly escape discomfort and pursue what makes us feel better, we can urge ourselves to experience discomfort and pain. We can't aim to live our lives in a padded cell. How is it that in our society, where people have every advantage in life, yet experience record highs for debilitating anxiety, depression, and physical pain, beyond extreme levels of running from pain, We've lost the ability to tolerate minor discomfort. We're constantly seeking to distract ourselves from the present moment, to be entertained. Here's a message that I'll leave with you. Pressing on the pain side of the balance can lead to the opposite, pleasure. We will become less vulnerable to pain and more able to feel pleasure over time. If that was helpful for you, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel for more practical ways to improve mental health, relationships, or yourself. I'm Kayla Rochelle. I'll see you in the next one.